Hey everybody, welcome back to the Cozy Cat Reader, where we talk about a whole bunch of books and sometimes we are joined by cats. We're doing another little sit down and just chat together, and today I want to talk about something that's really been hitting me in the past couple weeks. Really, it's been I feel like 2 months now, and that's slumps. Have you been in a reading slump? Is it just me? Are you just not reading as much now that it's July as you were in January or February? Maybe you're doing a midsummer clean out and you're busy, so you're doing other things, or it's summer and you're doing fun vacations or hanging out with your family. Whatever it is, you're not alone. Slumps hit all of us. And even though it's primarily, I feel like, talked about, and maybe it's just me and what I'm viewing in media, but primarily talked about in reading. Oh, I've had this really big reading slump recently. But it's also a thing that applies to all of your other hobbies as well. I mean, I've had slumps of not wanting to run or not wanting to go to yoga or Pilates. I've had slumps of literally any hobby, side quest, whatever it is you want to call it. It's happened to me. But specifically, the last month and a half, I've had a slump in reading. I was cruising through the first several months of the year of just knocking out 4 books a week, and that was doing one physical book a week, one physical book a week, and about 3 audiobooks. I was cruising, and then summer hit, and it took me almost a month to finish one book. And normally it's oh, it's not a big deal. Why are you being so hard on yourself? Why are you being so hard on yourself? It's just a hobby. It's just something that you do for fun. I felt like I had added pressure because this specific book was actually for our traveling book club that I've talked a little bit on this channel. And I was behind. We were supposed to read one book every 2 months, which gave people, if they had a busier time in that period, that they had time to get through a book, or maybe they're doing other things with their time. Anyways, the 2 months came and they went, and I started the book at the very end of the 2-month period because I'd been getting through physical books in a week. And then it just sat there, and then we traveled some and it sat there, and then we started this quest of moving, and so it sat there some more. And unlike other hobbies, when I get into slumps, reading is primarily a solo hobby. You can read in a group, you can read in the same room as someone else, but at the end of the day, it's you choosing to read and choosing to pick up that hobby instead of the endless options that are available to you. And when I've had other slumps, primarily with my workout slumps, what normally gets me out of it is just a friend saying, hey, I'm going to be here tonight. Are you going to be here? And then because it is a group activity and it's with people that I want to interact with, slump's gone. I feel good about myself. I have that instant endorphin of working out, slump gone. Or at the very least, slump closer to being gone than over a month. About a month on a physical book. So how do I get out of these slumps when I have them? Because this isn't the first reading slump that I've ever been in, and it certainly won't be the last. But my usual tactics weren't working this time. One of my main go-to tactics is to read an Emily Henry book. I love the contemporary romance. I love that I really don't have to learn anything about the world. It's contemporary. I kind of know what's going on. I know it's going to happen. There's a happily ever after. So if Emily Henry isn't available, I can grab another contemporary romance. And I breeze through it and I'm like, oh my God, I love reading so much. Let's get back into it. Another thing I do is I will actually take a couple days off from reading. I will do a couple days where instead of using the time that I used to read, I'll watch some of my favorite YouTube channels or I'll watch a TV series. And yes, I do mean I will watch a whole season of something in a couple of days. And then I'm like, wow, I'm really burnt out from this. Better pick up a book. But both of those, I felt like weren't options in this reading slump because I had a deadline and I had missed it. And even though my friends who are in this chat, I know that they would never say anything about someone being behind. They would just be like, yeah, take extra time if you need it. And I did actually text my friend Kelsey and I was like, girl, it's been a crazy summer. I'm going to need a couple more days. Reader, 2 weeks. A couple days, 2 weeks. And she was like, sure, take your time. Just get it to me when you get it to me. It's not the end of the world. And I know if this was someone else saying, like if someone else in the group was having a slump, I would say the same thing. But we're always more negative to ourselves than we are towards other people. And so I was like, what can I do to get out of this slump that I haven't thought of before, that isn't going to cause me to take more breaks from reading, because I really can't afford to take any more breaks from reading. And then inspiration hit me, and I'm going to put my hair up real quick. Sorry, I was getting warm. Yes, it's summer. Yes, I'm wearing a sweatshirt. I am inside though, and I haven't been warm all day, and suddenly I was roasting. So the hair is up. I look bald. It's fine. Where was I? Oh, yes. Something to pull me out of the slump that I hadn't thought of before, that isn't going to cause me to stop reading. Inspiration struck, and that was immersive reading. I've done this before, and honestly, everyone, maybe not everyone, most people have probably done this at some point in their life, specifically like in a classroom setting when you're like reading out loud from a passage and you're reading along. If you were like me in school and you did this, you were like counting to see how many kids were in front of you and which paragraph you would have to read. Definitely did that. And then they threw in the whole popcorn style where it was random. So you truly had to be reading along. But now I was going to do it with an audiobook. And this worked. Surprise, this worked for several reasons. This book was a fantasy novel, and as we all know, for whatever reason, fantasy works better for me when I have this option to do it on audio. Listening to the people and the places and the things and the names that maybe I'm not used to because they're made up, like it all just clicks better. And there are some very talented narrators that just make the world so much better. So what did I do? I hopped onto my Libby, looked for the book, and as luck would have it, no one had it out. So I was able to find my place in the book, start the audio, and this also helped because as I'm reading and as I'm listening, it's settling in my brain more. And instead of pushing it off, I was excited because the narrator was so good. I was like, I want to hear what happens next. So now, what happens next? My microphone just died, which is probably a sign to wrap up this chatty video of basically what to do when you hit a reading slump. And my advice, if you haven't tried it before, is, and you have the option to, get it on audio, read along while you're doing the audio, see if that helps, and maybe that'll pull you out of the slump. If that doesn't work for you, maybe try a book in like a comfort genre, or take a break, listen to what is good for your well-being at the time, and do another hobby, start a new side quest, something that eventually you're going to come back to reading. What I'm curious about is, do you have any tips and tricks of how to get out of a reading slump that I haven't mentioned yet? I think I've heard some people say that they like to do a novella because it's very like low stakes. It's a super short book, but you still get that like, okay, I've successfully finished a book. Now I am ready to go. But if you have something different, let me know in the comments. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. But if you have something different, let me know in the comments. And until next week, I hope that you are not in a reading slump and that you're reading something really good. Bye.